Ladies and gentlemen, the testimonials of X39 are very emotional and often life-changing. Every Monday night we do this, and it's just been incredible how person after person after person, it'll bring tears to your eyes, some of the life-changing events that we are seeing from X39. At this point, I'm going to stop my sharing of the screen. Sandra, if you're out there, would you come on, dear friend? Your story is extraordinary. I cannot wait till you share what's going on in your life, who introduced you to this technology. Talk about the extreme condition that your body was in prior to X39. Take a deep breath and share the successes. Sandra Buescher, thank you, dear.
Thank you, Joe. Hi, everyone. And thank you, Joe, for asking me to participate in my healing testimony. And also, thank you for coming to Ohio to help put on X39 LifeWave event for our Ohio teams. I very much appreciate that. My testimony is that I have been plagued with many illnesses starting at the young age of 11. I went to camp and I contracted a bacterial and viral infection in my spine as well as in my brain, with a severe rash all over my body. And by the time they'd gotten me to the hospital, the doctors had hoped that I would live the next 24 hours because my brain had swollen so much. I had such a high fever that I was losing my sight. And then at 15, I was out of school for quite a bit of time for catching what some people call the kissing disease. And I had a severe throat that was just on fire. And these, excuse me, these conditions caused or triggered many other future immune challenges and diagnoses in my body that caused extreme long-term fatigue, joint and muscle aching, cognitive issues, sleeping issues, and the other thing that was most difficult is from my hips down, both of my legs and my whole left arm literally felt like it was on fire or on dry ice. And I would just pace every night for many years. It was very difficult to deal with. The most difficult diagnosis and most devastating was in my early 30s with an autoimmune condition that affects the central nervous system by attacking the myelin sheath that covers the nerves in your brain and your spine. The scarring that happens disrupts the communication of your brain and your spine to the rest of your body or the muscles in your body, which then they cannot perform. This ended up affecting my heart, my ability to swallow, breathing. I started losing a lot more eyesight and dizziness. I ended up, excuse me, I started having to use a cane, and then I went to a walker, then I went to a wheelchair, and then I needed to use oxygen for many years. And the reason I needed the oxygen is my body was so fatigued and exhausted that every time I would eat, my body would literally shut itself down and go into what is called sleep paralysis. And so after I eat, I lay down. I could hear everything, but I could never open my eyes. I couldn't move my body. My cell phone would be right next to me, totally useless. And then one time I had a particular procedure my doctors wanted me to do that I questioned, and I did it out of fear. And that put me into sleep paralysis for 6 hours. And I happened to be home by myself. So, after 4 or 5 hours, I really wasn't sure I was going to live by morning. So I just said a prayer and I said, God, you've got to hover over me. I have no idea how to do this. And since I was no longer able to take care of myself, it was getting too hard. At times, I literally would use a pillow to hold my head up because I just couldn't hold my head up anymore. And when I'd wake up in the morning, that's what was the hardest part was mornings, because I think, how the hell am I going to get through 12 hours? I mean, am I going to get a shower? I hope to get 2 or 3 meals. It was getting that difficult to get through a day. So at this point, I decided I'd sign myself up for assisted living on the waiting list. But, I just didn't see myself going there, but I knew that it's something that was the next step. So on my way home, I said a long prayer with God, and I made a commitment to myself that I was going to give it everything. I mean, everything I've got, and see if I can turn this around and not end up in a facility. So I watched everything I ate. I watched every thought that came into my mind. If it was negative, I immediately flipped it to something positive. I exercised in bed with those rubber bands. I meditated every day. And if it was a bad day, I'd meditate twice that day. And I studied on many different healing modalities. This did literally get me out of the wheelchair and off oxygen, but I still wasn't functioning. I still couldn't drive every day. I still didn't feel very good. And that was until I met Dr. Beth, and she told me about a little sticker called X39. I couldn't wait to try it. It has taken a lot of physical therapy, a lot of patience, and a lot of work to get this body back to functioning. I had lost most of my core muscles. I really wasn't able to hold myself up much anymore. I still have some setbacks, but they're nothing like they were in the past. It's still a little difficult for me to travel for LifeWave events, which disappoints me because I would love to go to all of them, but as of now, I can't, but I will be. I see that happening. And then I wanted to say in the last 3 years of wearing this patch, I have gotten my life back. So when I used to meditate, I used to think about the things that I would love to do. I would feel the air. I would, put myself there. So because what the mind believes it can achieve. So I did that all the time. And so the things I've been able to do in the last 3 years is I won the Punta Cana trip for LifeWave incentive trip. And I got to zip line, and I kayaked on the ocean, which was so thrilling. I've been able to snorkel on 3 different coral reefs. I kayak regularly. And for my 60th birthday a few weeks ago, I went to Key Largo, and I heard about Jacques Cousteau's ship. It was way out in the ocean, and it was going to be towed away. And I really wanted to see it. So I thought, why not give it a go? But it ended up taking me 5 hours to get all the way there and back. So I was very grateful that I packed a lunch. And it's unbelievable that I could even do that. And then I got to water. I mean, I just really challenged this patch all the time because I had been sick for over 20 years. I missed most of the fun. So I tested this patch, and then I thought, I'm going to go water skiing. I used to ski as a child. I got up on the first try. I was so thrilled. And then for my 60th birthday, a couple of weeks ago, a friend of mine knew that my bucket list was to be on aqua blue water in somewhere tropical or like the Keys and do a jet ski. That is something that I really wanted to do. So she surprised me with that gift. And I can't tell you how thrilling that was. I mean, I was out there on this jet ski, and I was just going, thank you, thank you, thank you, because I'm not supposed to be able to jet ski. And I was out there doing bumps and waves, and it was the greatest moment. My heart was so full of joy. And then I also want to mention, because I love science, which is why I started the patch. My last MRI, I did not have one new brain lesion. That never happens for me. And brain lesions cause brain damage. And honestly, with all these challenges, I have enough of that. So I'm glad I have no more new lesions. The last thing that I want to say is first I want to say also what Jean said. These patches do take time. And for me, it was a full 4 months before I noticed anything happening. And the last thing that I really wanted to say is that I absolutely love being a LifeWave brand partner. I have been a nurse's aide. It's one of my many jobs with hospice. And I have seen a lot of suffering. I've experienced a lot of suffering. So being a LifeWave partner just gives me such purpose and such joy. And I get to hear other people's healing testimonies. And I am just having a blast with being a partner. So that is my testimony. Thank you, Joe, for asking me to talk today. And I just hope my testimony gives somebody hope, because they didn't give me hope. They said, you're not getting out of the chair. You're not, you're not, you're not. And I said, well, that doesn't fit my personality. So I stopped doing a lot of what they wanted me to do. So thank you.
Wow. Sandra. Ooh, clearly God is not finished with you yet, my friend. Wow.
That's a long 20 years to be in and
I,
out of bed.
I know, but he's using you for his plan and his purpose. And that's just a beautiful, beautiful testimonial. So thank you so much, Sandra. I really appreciate it. You really blessed a lot of people tonight. So God bless you, friend.
Thank you so much, Joe.
Mm.